Evil overlords Batman and Superman.
We're taking over the world. Bet on it.
Okay people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Today we're going to take a look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Batman Hellbat suit and Superman Unchained Armor. Okay, that's right. Before you go running out to the store to look for these, McFarlane Toys did send me a care package. And I essentially got everything they are offering in this first wave. I'll be taking a look at all that sometime in the next week, but these two are the two I was most excited about. I do buy some 7-inch stuff here and there, especially the Fortnite, some DC, so McFarlane going to 7-inch doesn't really hurt my feelings. But these two, they're big, they're bulky, they're armor, they will fit in with a 6-inch display or 7-inch, they're multi-purpose if you want them to be. Plus both armors, especially the Batman, are badass looking, at least in the package, so let's get to it. Looking at the packages for all the figures in this line, it's what we're gonna see with every figure apparently. They're all the same size, they have the big window, you can see most of what's going on in there. Has a blue background, has a card, and it just says DC Multiverse Batman Superman. On the side, same kind of thing, black DC Multiverse Superman. On the back we get art depicting both characters in their natural environment, you know, the comics. I do like that it gives the source on where these pictures came from so I can go back and research without having, you know, to go all the way to the computer and Google. It's nice to have it right there. Other characters in the wave, although they do depict a Birds of Prey Harley Quinn down here. Is that a figure that hasn't been debuted yet? I'm sure we'll see that at Toy Fair here in a month or so. On the other side, again, Batman, Superman, Hellbat suit, Unchained Armor. Wonder why they have that in italics, but they don't have Hellbat suit in... well. On the top, more window. On the bottom, all your legalese, barcodes, etc., etc. Let's get these open, see what's going on here. It seems with all the tabs, the tape right here holding it shut, the easiest way is to go through the bottom. It's just an inner tray, and there you go. In fact, oh, there's stuff on the back. We see this with Fortnite a lot, the very, very basic stand right there with the foot peg. I'm figuring as big as these feet are, I'm not gonna need a stand. Comes with a trading card. I call it a trading card. It's the same art from the back, but oh, it's a thicker stock than actual trading cards. Oh, and then inside we get the actual bio. That's kind of nifty. Okay, instead of putting it on the back of the package and taking up, well, there's some space to put it there, but you have to get it inside to see if you're not familiar with the character. I thought the Wraith was a Batman villain. The thing about the Hellbat suit too, even in the package, it's hefty. This thing has some weight to it. Forged by the other members of the Justice League. I think what's most interesting to me though here is the colors and and maybe not the style, but the colors really remind me of that 1960s Batmobile. Like somebody on Instagram mashed up the car and a suit of armor. Taking a look at Superman first, it definitely evokes Superman, you know what I mean? I mean, there's the blue, there's the red, there's the S, there's even some semblance of the cape coming up and over his shoulders. But then it skews off into the shininess realm of armor because of the shiny red, the shiny blue. Well, the black is matte, but that just sets up a nice contrast between the two. And it's McFarlane Toys, so it's very nice sculpting all the way around. The armor bits are very armory. The blues and the reds, they have some detail to them and stuff, but when you get to the kind of undersuit of the black, there is texture poking through that, again, the contrast is beautiful here. Back here on the back of the legs, there's a texture, but then the red smooth armor around it. And that's on top of the paint being, for the most part, very crisp. The separations are done very, very nicely. You can get away with that in some instances, but when it comes to the hard, sharp edges of armor, the paint job is important. Looking closer on the blues, there may be even a metallic flake to it. The chest shield may have a metallic to it too, compared to the reds. Well, okay, it is kind of hard to tell. The closer you look, the more you look, the more it kind of mesmerizes. It's beautiful color choices here, really. You can see the sculpted detail on the abs right there, kind of crustacean? I don't know how else to describe it, but it's part of the hard plastic and, yeah, sharp. Then up at the head, it carries on those same colors, but throws some silver in, which kind of, I don't know, breaks it up, but that's not the figure, it's the design itself. This looks very, not good guy. Very, villain-like, because it's sharp, it's long, it's I don't know. There's just something to it that does not say Superman to me. But that's the comics, not the figures. I can accept this as a mech-looking Superman, or well, armored-up Superman. And again, it's kind of a harder material. It's not the usual head hair material we see. I'm not afraid of breaking it. It bends, but it pops right back into position. And then all that could be said for the Hellbat suit too. This is just a big, bulky, broad bastard. It's actually fun in hand, you know? When I pulled it out of the package, I was like, oh, look at this. We have the same kind of sharp, sculpted armor detail all the way around, but this gets, because of the colors, again, because of the reference art, some of the sculpt is lost into the blackness, but there's also kind of a gray, silverish dry brush to bring out the more brutal? Is that a good word for some of these parts? You have the suit itself on the protective parts, but where Batman needs to kick ass, he can knee somebody, he can kick somebody, he can gauntlet the hell out of them. Those parts seem to have a little bit of wear and tear to them. They're a little bit more raw steel. I'm assuming these are some kind of thrusters to fly with. The red detail running up, but now that I have it out and seeing all the point and jagged parts, it's not so much 60s Batmobile as just plain Batmobile. And then up at the head, same thing. It just carries on the design. Where Superman's kind of sticks out, Batman's blends better with the whole body. It's essentially just a red slit to see out of, and then protective gear. You have the bat ears slicked back like the front of a Batmobile, you know? But coming back down to the most prominent part, which I think it was designed to be that way, your eye is directly drawn to the bat symbol on the chest. It's just plain, flat, red. Because of how murky the rest of the armor is, that stands out. And the same could be said for the belt. It has sculpted detail on it, but it's that same matte red color. It's just striking overall, and bringing them both in, there is the usual Superman-Batman contrast. Unfortunately, there are single elbows here. I can understand that. Usually with big characters, especially armored types, they put single elbows in. Even other companies do that. But it does restrict the movement here. Double knees, though, and then we'll get to the McFarlane Hips here in a minute, which aren't that bad. I mean, whoop! But looking at it, it's not as, oh, there's a joint, there's a joint, there's a joint. It's well integrated into the body. In the bicep swivel right here, this piece is actually sculpted down to the bottom part. So when you turn it, it rotates around the black shoulder ball. They thought about it. That's some cool engineering right there. Because of the sculpted detail on the abs, it doesn't want to come forward. It wants to go back, but it snags when it goes here. Fortunately, there's a ball at the waist that gives you a little bit of movement, but not as much as you want. Superman can't look up. Batman can't either. They have some down, not so much up. Another interesting part is the separate neck piece between the head and the neck. Kind of like Amazing Yamaguchi, Revoltech style. It's a floating piece in there to keep it from gapping up when you move it around. These big shoulder armor bell pieces, they are actually ball jointed up at the top, so they get up and out of the way. You can rotate them a little bit. Another thing to watch out for on this figure, well, not so much Superman, but Batman has a lot of Sharpie edges on it. Here's some stabbies right here, around here. You try to move the head, the ears are gonna get you. Toes have a little bit of point to them, the armor part, but not as bad as the hands. And I know, we're adults, we're not gonna poke our eye out or anything. I was just warning you a little bit. Going over articulation, there seems to be a dumbbell joint up at the top of the neck. You can look down, but then not a lot of up, but you get some tilt. Look at that. Swivel. Have a butterfly top joint at the shoulder. It goes up, goes down, goes forward, goes back. Then there's a hinge and swivel outside of that, but this cape piece kind of gets in the way. You can go up to about right there. Rotate around, you got to work around that. Swivel at the bicep. Single elbow, 90. Hinge and swivel at the wrist. It goes side to side, but you can also rotate that around to where you go up and down. Ball joint mid-torso, but like I said, hindered forward, arc back. And then with the ball joint at the waist, you can tilt, that comes forward a little bit, good arc back. Your standard Fortnite hips, it comes out to a mechanism where you can rotate up, back, out. Guess what that's better than most of? Little bit of swivel there. Double knee comes up, little past 90. And then down at the ankles. Unfortunately, because of the shin sculpt coming down on the sides here, it kind of gets in the way, but you do get some back, some forward, not a lot of tilt because it just runs right into those boop, 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 boop. And then toe joint comes all the way up. For Batman, again, some kind of ball joint up in the neck. Can bury the chin. Boy, that's dark, if you can see that right there. Not a lot of up. Got some tilt though, looks side to side. Ball joint at the shoulder pad comes up, goes around, rotates. Again, butterfly joint in there. I don't know. We need to come up with a new name for that, especially when it goes up and down and forward and back, because you can shift, 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 shift. And that cup comes out to the hinge and swivel at the shoulder that comes up to there. Swivels around. You can get around the shoulder pad. Bicep swivel. Single elbow comes up to there. Same kind of wrist setup. You get movement. Well, good in movement. But then you can rotate that around to where it is up and down. A little better setup in the ball joint in the torso here because you can see the gap. So this comes more forward, and then with the waist, which is already moved, you get not a bad crunch. Arc back, tilt side to side. Again, same hips come up. Because of Batman's bigger crotch piece, we won't even get into that. It does get in the way, so you have to kind of rotate out to get the leg up that high. Back, but he does win in the sidekick department. I mean, that's better than Marvel Legends. Little itty bitty bit of rotation. Double knee. Oh, comes further than Superman. And then the ankle joint, way more exposed than Superman. So you do get some back, get some forward. There is a forward facing pin for some rocker. And then a very well hidden toe joint. Boop. Goes up. For accessories, Superman comes with these wing pieces. I think there are, well, of course there's two, but I think they are symmetrical. I don't, yeah, I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter which way these go. And those plug into the holes in the back. I said those plug into the holes in the back. Plug. Very tight. Whew. Then that swivels inside the body. There's a hinge and swivels inside the wing too. So you can get back with it. You can turn that ball joint around if you want it higher. Come up to here. Something. Wherever you want to put this, it'll be able to go. And it does add something to the figure. It more of a mech look to it. And I guess if you want them in a down position. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, rotate it around. Oh, and that kind of continues the cape theme coming up and around. That's kind of brilliant. That also doesn't take as much real estate on the shelf, if you want to put it that way. But then Batman comes with two of these big honking things. See, two. That plugs into a hole in his back, which is way easier to get in there. And then that folds out. Oh, is it raining? Very ominous. It is a very impressive wingspan too. It's 14 inches across. Not quite as much articulation though. There's just the pin going in. You can rotate it kind of up and down. It feels like, oh, it does have flat sides on it. So you may not want to rotate it up and down. You may want to pull it, put it into position, and then plug it back in. Because it's a very, yeah, well, I don't know. You can do it. I'd be afraid of loosening it up if you did that too much. Plus side, because of that, you're going to get a symmetrical look. They're in the same position on both sides. And then if you want to fold the wings in, you can do that. Maybe here and here. Yeah, how about that? Again, continuing the cape look if you want to put it like that. Not as good as Superman, but still not bad. Batman stands at a... Wait a second. Let's just take a minute to look at it like this. That looks fantastic. Very imposing. He's going to stand on the shelf and your eye is going to go, what the hell is that thing? Batman stands at 8 inches tall to the top of the ears. Superman stands, well, to the top of the head, it's about 7.5 inches. To the top of the horn things, it's 8 inches. And then his wingspan is about 10 inches. Dang, they look good together. Holy moly. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of 7-inch scale stuff other than Jokers. So here it is with the NECA Dark Knight Joker and some DC Direct / collectibles Joker. Once I dig into the rest of the McFarlane wave, I'll have more 7-inch, and I'll make sure to come back and do this comparison when I look at those. But if your collection is closer to 6-inch and you did icons, here's the DC Collectibles icons Batman and Superman, or the Mattel DC Universe Classics or Multiverse or whatever these two figures came from, Batman, Superman. And then the Mattel Multiverse movie stuff was just a tad bigger, so that fits even better. All right, one of you boys are gonna have to reel it in. So at the end of the day, oh, well, now this looks all empty over here. What can I say? 2 fun action figures. I know the direction McFarlane took this in is not everyone's cup of tea, and we'll see what I feel like next week when I'm looking at some of the other figures in this line. But these two, like I said way back at the beginning, these are the two I was most excited about because they fit into multiple displays. They're multi-purpose. Big armored characters, you can fudge them into your 6-inch, into your 7-inch, wherever you want to put it. On top of that, it helps that the sculpting on these damn things are beautiful, along with the paint. They just contrast nicely with each other. When I opened the box, I half thought, I'm just going to look at the Hellbat suit, but I jumped in with the Superman too, and I'm so glad I did. Because I think if I had jumped into Superman without Batman, I wouldn't have been, I don't know, they worked so well together. They're almost a team. I look at the reds on Superman, and I kind of wish that the Batman got that too, but man, that just matte red contrast against the shiny black, it just works so well. Do Superman and Batman need armors? Well, Batman could probably use some armor, but Superman, I can understand the concept, and I really like the design now that I've messed with it for an hour or two. No, not really, but I'm still happy to have it in plastic. There's no denying that. Plus, this being the same price point as the other figures in the line, which is comparable to Marvel Legends 2, this seems like a great value. This is a lot of plastic for 20 some odd dollars, so consider me happy. Would I like a 6-inch line to go with my Marvel Legends? Yeah, but at the same time, it's exciting, something different, something new, especially when it's the same price as 6-inch stuff. But again, I'll have a better idea when I look at some other figures from this wave. But I keep coming back around. These two, oh man, So if you enjoyed the review, comment, like, subscribe, or whatever the platform you're watching this on allows. Much love to the plus. If you're interested in getting videos early or just supporting the channel, go check out patreon.com. But wherever you may be watching this, I'll always catch you on the Fwoosh.